Welcome to TezTalks. I'm Blangs, and today we're talking with Ryan Tanaka. If you've spent any time in the Tezos art space, you've probably seen his name. He's part of the Teia DAO, which grew out of Hicetnunc, and he also runs Teia Cafe, his own personal project. We're going to talk about how Teia has changed, what Ryan's been building lately, and some of the new projects he's been working on with Joe Simon. Should be a good one. Ryan, thanks for joining us. How's your week been?
Pretty good. Yeah, thanks for having me on. You might notice from the background, I'm going to be moving in a few weeks, so everything's kind of dismantled right now. But it's exciting. A lot of things are changing, and a lot of things I think are going to happen over the next few months. So, which
You say
includes
you're
Tesla stuff.
moving.
Yeah.
Anything fun or unexpected going on outside of work?
Uh, you mean by work, as in like outside of Tezos?
Yeah, I mean, you said you're moving.
Oh yeah. I'm moving to a new neighborhood. It's called like the Central District, Seattle area. It seems like kind of like a up and coming neighborhood. So yeah, and I visited there a few times, and I give it a shot. So we'll see.
Now, for people who might not know you yet, how did you
Mhm.
first get involved in the Tezos art space?
Oh well, I got in around the time Hicetnunc. It blew up really, really big, right? Like a few years ago. And then a friend of mine told me, "Oh, you gotta really check this out." And so I got in around the same time. Uh, like Hickenut was kind of like going down, but Taya popped up, and that whole story of like people taking what they love and rebuilding it, like out of the ashes, right? Kind of that kind of thing. It really inspired me. So I come from a music background. If you don't know already, I'm a musician and composer. But that whole thing I got kind of sucked into and eventually became part of the core team because I just love the people there so much. So that's the
So
short
you
story of it. Yeah.
you were there as part of the transition from Hicetnunc to Teia. What was that like from the inside?
It was pretty crazy because, something like this has never really happened before, right? And so everyone was just trying to figure out as things going along. But, like for example, even the name Taya, right? The Taya itself was voted on, and there must have been at least several hundred, maybe even 1,000 people who voted on like that that poll, and you did it on chain, right? So the record is there, and they're like, yeah. So they're out of six names, they chose one, and yeah, and the rest is history.
So you say they operate under a DAO. What's one thing people often misunderstand about how Teia runs as a DAO?
Well, it's like, so structurally speaking, right? Like we technically have about 3,000 members, right? But at any given time, not all 3,000 people are there all the time, right? So what we have is like a core team who and there's about a dozen of us or so, and many of those names you probably already know. Like if you've been around Tezos, like these are people who have been around, and people know them and trust them, and so they kind of keep the day-to-day things running, right? Like maintaining the site, making sure that the indexer is running properly, and all those little things. But technically speaking, I guess it's almost 2 years ago now, but we registered Taya as an like an official nonprofit in the Marshall Islands. So, we're on there, and according to the operating agreement, legally, uh
I love how you
the
throw that word in legally.
well, it's important to some people.
It
There's a
is
difference
important.
between there's a difference between legal status and how things run, right? I'm just making that distinction. But but ultimately the authority rests on the DAO, which is the token holders of Teia. So if there's like a big decision or like something that will pertain to like something existential, right, or big budgeting or those sorts of things, uh the token holders have the say, and that's how we're structured. So
Gotcha.
yeah, but in the meantime, there's about a dozen or so of us that just keeps running, and we vote on little things, adding features, fixing bugs, and everything's open source and you can see everything. So that's kind of the beauty of it.
So, what's kept you committed to Taya through all the ups and downs since then?
uh well, Tezos people say this a lot, but at the end of the day, it's about the people, right? And
Yeah.
I have a couple stories uh regarding Taya that really like kept me in. And the actually interesting thing, they both have to do with Merchant Capola. That artist. Uh, they're not too active on social media right now, but they're a key part. It was their idea to like do the nonprofit thing, and they do like the big budget proposals and all that kind of thing. So, you know, but I was talking to them when I first joined Taya, and this really stuck in my mind because it was the first time someone asked me for a ledger record in regards to something I was doing on chain.
Wow.
I've been
Okay.
in I've been in crypto since like 2013. I've been around forever, but then it was like,
You're a
whoa,
dinosaur.
I'm a yeah. I feel old talking about back in my day. You could You know, I got my first Bitcoin through mining, right? Like there are no exchanges. That's how far back I go,
Wow.
you know? So
So you were running the car that was solving Sudokus.
I guess so. It was just this little USB powered box that, I didn't build it myself. I just bought it because someone made it. I'm like, oh, I'll try it out, But anyway, even as long as I've been in this space, like up until that point, I didn't realize how most people don't even use the blockchain for what it was intended for. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that makes sense. You're looking for a record of something I did, and you're asking me for the receipt. And when you go on in other chains or other places, like you realize most people don't even bother. You know, so
No.
it kind of blew me away that they were asking me this question. Like, whoa, whoops. So the other part is so when we're forming the DAO, you need money. It's not free, right? To register,
Right.
it costs thousands of dollars, and we had to find that money somehow. So there was a few of us that were willing to kind of front that cost, right? Because we felt it was important. Uh, and so we loaned the money to Taya, put it in their treasury, and they use that funds to pay for it. And honestly, I didn't expect to get that money back because I was thought, like it's art, and maybe it'll work. But the thing is, like about 4 or 5 months ago, merchant again said like, oh, we need to pay these people back because it's a loan. We said it was a loan, and
Okay.
so like Taya makes a little bit of money from all the minting costs, right? Like we take a little fee, and
Sure.
then so over time they accumulated that money and they actually paid everyone back. And
Wow.
like after a year, right? Like there were so many opportunities just to forget or whatever. Like people disappear, right, in this space like a lot. So I don't know, that was really like it just showed like how much like integrity this ecosystem has, and
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, it was a nice surprise, and in the best possible way.
Oh
So
yeah.
and those sorts of things happen all the time here, you know, like too many to mention. And I just feel very comfortable being around this ecosystem because I feel like, you know, I can trust it. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Now, Teia Cafe is your own thing, a bit different from the DAO work. Let's talk about that. What sparked the idea to start Teia Cafe?
Oh, yeah. So Teia Cafe, the current version is, and you can check it now if you want. It's live. We've been pushing all the changes live in the
That's
last,
Teia.cafe.
yeah, Teia.cafe. So just to be clear, Teia Cafe is my project, mine and Joe's project. Um, it's a we're going to form a like a company around it, but and Teia is something completely different. Where
Right.
the name is more of an homage, right? It's an homage to the community, but at the same time, we are using resources from there, like the artworks, of course, and you know their API and their indexer. So um, yeah, so that's basically what it is. And Teia Cafe, it went through a lot of different iterations. In the first version, we wanted to like we were trying to do a little bit too much. You know, we wanted to showcase everything
Right.
on the
As
whole.
we all do. As we
Yeah, we
often do.
wanted to do everything, right?
Right.
And that's kind of hard. So for version 2, we decided to focus more on the music side. And so right now, if you go on TED Cafe, it's mostly a radio station that's very similar to Hicetnunc, Hen Radio, if you remember that. And
Right. Yes.
it has all the same music and all the same songs too. So if you're, you know, feeling nostalgic of that era, it's, you know, now's a good time to kind of check it out, I think. But we wanted to kind of pursue the so in the last 2 years or so, I've been trying to figure out how to build a on-chain copyright registration system, because that was actually the main reason why I got involved with crypto to begin with, because I come from a music background, and you know the music industry has a lot of issues regarding that stuff, especially, you know, regarding it. You can see it very clearly now with AI, and you know, but that has always been there. You know, like copyright has always been an issue, and so you know, and so I thought the blockchain would be the perfect place to like build these things, because you know it brings transparency to a model that is needed, badly needed, right? And so this is like back in 2013, 2014. And I honestly thought someone else would have done it. Someone else smarter than me, someone else with more money and
Nobody's smarter
connections.
than you, Ryan. No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, I know. Thanks. No, I mean, what does that even mean, man? It's just like such.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know. It
yeah.
sounded like a good time for it.
Yeah. But you know, it's so eventually I got tired of waiting, because it's the same pattern. I've been in this space long enough to see it done even in previous crypto cycles, right? What happens is that
Right.
someone raises money to do this copyright thing, cool. And but they're because they're building it under a startup model, right? Like they're
Mhm.
beholden to the interests of their investors, and eventually they become like a single point of failure, and then you know, and then it's like, well, at that point, is it any different from what we have now? You know, so
Not really.
yeah, so I thought, so my idea was like, okay, how can we do this fully on chain? You know, and but the thing is, you can't remove the middlemen, so to speak, completely, because they are necessary, right, to some extent.
At
But
some point, they're not middlemen. They serve a purpose.
yeah, they serve a purpose. It's mostly like that. Um,
Unlike the scalpers between us and tickets to Taylor Swift. Do they serve a purpose other than to make the ticket people
They
money?
they are bridging something in the market that is not there, right? If you look at it that way. I mean, some people have opinions whether it's good or bad, but
I
it's
mean, there's a
just
reason they call it scalping, right?
yeah, but I mean, if you don't want scalpers, you should have a better model. That's my, I don't know, like
Are you implying they want anyway? I'm kidding.
I don't know.
Oh,
Is
Ryan, what's been the most rewarding or surprising thing about running Teia Cafe?
um. Well, I think when we started the project, I made it a point to not have a database, and even to this day, we still don't have one. We have no logins. We don't track anything, and all the data comes directly from the chain. So, and I had lots of people tell me, like, no, like, oh, if you like, even for simple stuff like keeping login info or passwords and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, I don't want to. I want to just try to do a really pure version of it. So, it brought up certain challenges, right? Like some things are harder if you don't have a database, of course, but we managed to do it, I still think it's entirely possible. So yeah, and the thing that makes it possible, and this is why I stick to the Teia uh ecosystem very closely, is because I feel like there are certain parts of the industry that needs to be in sort of this neutral area, and because Teia is community owned, right? It's literally owned by the DAO. That we can leverage that to build certain things that would not be possible, right? With just a regular startup. And like, it's kind of just like open source. That's what open source is, right? You can think of Teia as like the open source community of NFTs and digital art. It's the first of its kind, but I still believe like there's a lot of things that can happen there that are yet to come. Um, Even in tech, right? You have like W3C, ICANN. Uh, I'm pretty sure, yeah, they're nonprofits, right? Like, I'm pretty sure they're, but either way, right? They're not owned by one company, but they were very, very instrumental in making the current version of the internet work, because behind the scenes they set all these standards that everybody have to use, and it keeps you know yeah, it keeps the playing field a little fair. It gives common resources for even private companies to use, right? It's like the bridges and roads of the digital space. So I'm looking forward to what Teia can accomplish over the next few years, because I really do believe they can serve that purpose. Not just for Tezos, but digital art as a whole.
That's really cool. Now, you've also been working with Joe Simon recently, which I mean, your new project.
Last 2 years, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
a long
So I
time.
mean, that's some development, right? So
Hmm.
what brought you two together? I mean, that's a long relationship. What started it all?
Huh. Actually, it's a little blurry, actually, but no, okay. It
So obviously, it
was,
was at a bar over drinks.
yeah, virtual drinks. Yes,
Fair.
I've never met him in person before, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
We're very Web three.
yeah, but we talk to each other all the time. He was introduced to me by Zero. Not that I remember. Zero is he kind of keeps the servers and the Teia.art running. So he's also a very popular baker if you're into that world. Yeah, really, really great guy. But he's like, oh, you should talk to Joe. Yeah, like there was a previous version of Teia Cafe that was operating under a different company name, but I was kind of transitioning out of that at the time. And I'm like, oh man, I need someone to help me with the dev work because I can do like front end coding. Teia Cafe, most of the designs are mine, so I kind of did
Okay.
that. But the smart contracts and all that complicated stuff, Mickelson, and it's just too much for me. So I needed help, and then he was willing to help me out. And so we did a few projects together, mostly just for fun. And but it's like, oh, this is kind of working. So right now, he's contracting for me. He's working for me part time here and there. But in the upcoming months, where I think he's going to be a co-founder for our next, official company. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah. No,
Good
no, no. We
connecting
have a
with
great
Joe.
relationship, and he's a great dev. He knows what he's doing. You'll see his name all over the place because he's been working on projects all over. So
So, do you think working with Joe has given you any new ideas or changed about how you think about Teia or Teia Cafe? I mean, he's been pretty instrumental
uh
from the beginning, it seems.
yeah, well, he's also been very patient, because so after the my last company went under,
Sure.
I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I don't know how to code. So, but I tried to teach myself how to code, and this was like 3 years ago, So, and before that, I have no experience. Okay, so I was like, at the GPT came out at the same time, and so that was a little, like AI is actually pretty helpful if you're a beginner, and so I was just trying to brute force my way through making an app, and somehow I did it. you know but I'll be perfectly honest. I'm new at it. I can get what I want out there, but like a lot of the details about, like, oh, how do we make it efficient, how do we make it scalable, and so we had a talk.
How do you scale that if you don't even know how you made it? I'm just curious.
You don't, because I'm special and you don't want it to scale.
Oh,
Like
you're funny.
I don't want people to copy me. That's why,
It's fair.
I'm kind of joking, but some artists actually do this. They make it so opaque and like, what, because to preserve that. But that's a whole nother. But anyway, like we reached the point in the app, and I like, if you know version one, you know what I'm talking about. There's about like 5 trillion features in there, and many of them I think were pretty interesting, at least personally. But it wasn't streamlined, So I talked to him like some months ago, and he brought up the idea of starting over, and he was like maybe a little apprehensive because he thought it might, offend me or something. But I'm like, no, please, help me, help me do this thing, because I know it's slow, and I know I don't know what I'm doing, But I think a lot of the ideas are okay, and but we just wanted to see realized in a way where it's like, like industry standard. If we have like a lot of people come into our site for somewhere, we want to be able to handle that, right? So so I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I mean, it's a good time. We can take ideas from the old app and then bring it over to the new one, and we're doing that. Yeah, that's what our focus would be over the next few months. And yeah, honestly, it's so much better. Like, like, the new version is so much better. Like, it's like, oh man, like, you probably you load a playlist and it just does it, you know. And so yeah, that's basically it. Like I had to learn how to like kind of, step out of the way and let the professionals kind of do their thing, right? And yeah, it takes a little longer, but maybe it's usually worth it.
Well, let's talk about the Tezos art community for a bit.
Mhm.
What's one weird or wonderful thing that's happened in this community that still makes you smile?
Oh, I mean, recently.
I
Are
mean,
you
it
talking
could be from
recent?
a while ago. I mean, it could be something that legacy left an
I don't
impression.
know. Am I allowed to talk about TezPol? Because
I mean, you were there. It would be weird
I
to
was
say you're
there.
not.
I'm not gonna shame anyone, but it's just like, but it's more about, yeah. See, the pot, like, people don't realize like how big of a deal that was. Like
I
in a
thought it was awesome, at least as far as publicity went, and as far as marketing goes, you can't get better eyes on us
Yeah, I
at
know,
all.
and because I'll be honest, I was there. I was in Florida meeting a friend, and I was like, oh, okay, well, since I'm here, I might as well represent Teia. Like they did actually do, like, they're pretty generous about giving Teia a space, right? And that was pretty exciting. So, like, sure, yeah, I'll go, and stuff happened, but but the important thing is kind of like how the community responded, right? And
Right.
they could have turned something that could have been like a complete disaster into something very interesting, and really brought life to the whole. People were really excited. People still talk about it today, and it really
I think
stood
there
out.
was one at TezCon.
Yeah, Jake brought in his homemade Tezpol, and you're not gonna get that from just a run of the mill, clean and polished, like, gallery. I mean, there's nothing wrong
No.
with it, but it really, like, showed the world, really, like, that's the spirit, right, of the movement, the community. And yeah, so that's a weird, quirky thing about us, that it's still here today. Like, we're gonna be I live in Seattle, right? Like, we're gonna be starting our monthly Tez I guess we're calling it TezCon Seattle, but we'll be meeting monthly locally, trying to meet local people. And this town has kind of a reputation, right, for being like punk, and a
Oh, yeah.
very, yeah. So we're hoping. I do think there's a synergy there that can happen, and
It's a
I'm
good
looking
fit.
forward to August 10th, 3 p.m. at Easy Street Records, if you happen to be in the area. Yeah.
Now, if it's after August and you're watching this, I'm sorry, you might have missed it.
Oh, really?
Well, just saying, I mean, this is recorded.
Oh, it's going to take that long, huh?
No, I'm just saying somebody could be watching this a year from now, Ryan.
Oh, that's true. No, but we're going to be there. Come to the next one.
Come to the next one.
We're going to be doing monthly, Just come to the
Yeah,
next one.
absolutely. Now, let's uh let's say everything you're building works. People
Mhm.
get it. What's changed 5 years from now?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So, like, assuming all the things I'm working on gets done, and yeah,
This is fairy tale land. We live in reality. 21 out of the 22 things we're working on are going to fail. So, like, let's go to
well,
the
well, I think a lot of us in this space are banking on the diligence. Like, Tesla's people are very diligent. Like,
yeah.
I told a few stories already about proof of that, but we're hoping that someday that will pay off, right? And because if you look outside, there's so many crazy things happening, not just in the economy, but the world as a whole, right?
Mhm.
And the hope is that the broader society will appreciate people who just want to do things the right way, and we're living in a weird time, because both online and off, we're just used to getting grifted all the time, right? But
Unfortunately.
yeah, but Tezos is like kind of my happy place where I can be like, oh, people here mean what they say and they want to do things in a fair way. They're not going to always agree with you, but they're pretty civil and they're fair. And I think, that's worth everything in the world, like more than anything. Like,
Yeah.
and so, and because I'm anticipating like the world is going to be pretty hectic over the next few years. And I'm hoping there'll be like a moment where they collectively realize, right? Oh, this is where we need to be. And what we're really doing right now is just preparing for that, right? It's not going to happen overnight, but I think
Make
it'll
it
happen.
happen overnight, Ryan.
Well, it could with the right event, but
Just takes
I don't know.
one good music festival and we'll save the world, right?
Yeah, things move slowly and then they happen all at once. Yeah, you know what I
Oh yeah,
mean?
that
Like,
works. Oh yeah.
yeah, it's like I wish it would be spread out a little more, but that's not how life works. So it's going to be nothing for a long time, and then one day it's just going to be boom. Like, what happened? Just like with Hicetnunc, right? Like nobody anticipated that. It just happened, and
Yeah.
then it
It exploded.
exploded, and it took a life on its own. And I think that'll happen again. Yeah.
Now, for anyone watching who's curious about what you're doing now, what's the best place to start?
Oh, I guess I'm most active on Twitter, so you can follow me on Ryan J Tanaka. Uh, and most things I kind of start there. So most of the crypto people are on there. So if you want to know what I've been doing lately, then that's the best place. Yeah, and you
Huh,
can always.
that's perfect.
I'm also on Threads, um, Facebook if you really want. But
What's Threads? No, I'm
Thr-
kidding. I'm kidding.
uh, yeah, Threads is like the Twitter of Instagram. It's like think of it as Twitter, but more
Oh,
suburban. That's the best way I can describe it.
that's wild.
Yeah,
Like I just went off into another world when you said that. You saw my brain just go whoop.
it's a suburban Twitter. Yeah, and it's toxic over there too, but in a different way.
Mm.
But it also
All
has
right.
its strong points.
Well, Ryan, thanks for hanging out with us today.
No,
Lots
thanks
of
for having
good
me.
stuff here. And I'm sure people are going to want to check out Teia Cafe after this. For everyone watching, this has been TezTalks. If it's your first time here, check out our past episodes, and we'll be back with more conversations like this soon. Ryan, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me. Yep. See you soon.